Welcome to What Do You Collect? We got a great episode tonight with some unique collectors here. We got a musical superstar, a podcast host, a legend in the social media world, two great collectors here talking about all their passionate love for collecting. Here we go.
What do you collect? Show me your collection. You're my one of one. You're my kind of obsession. My big.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you all for coming here today talking about these collectibles that brought us together. I want to start out with Emily. Talk about some of the digital collectibles and her love for NFTs, something that maybe doesn't take up as much room, as the physical cards. Those NFTs just stored digitally there, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about your career and your love for collecting?
Sure. I'm Emily Lazar. I am the creator and singer for the transmedia project called September Mourning. It is a band, but it's actually a musical project based around a graphic novel and comic book series that I wrote and published through Image Comics, Top Cow Comics. You guys probably know those guys. My business partner is Mark Silvestri on the comic book side, big guy in comics. Really amazing human being. And I basically play the character on stage, and the other band members play the other characters on stage. And we tour around the world, like bringing this comic book to life on stage through metal music and hard rock music. And we've been going since about 2014. We've toured in 7 countries, opened for Rob Zombie, Slipknot, a bunch of like big things like that. We've played a lot of festivals, and I recently, not really recently, actually, COVID era, I guess. I mean, I always think that's recent because it's still fresh in my mind, that piece of shit era. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Can we swear on this podcast? Because I always say fuck, so like that's happening. Okay.
That's right. We're all adults here.
That was a time.
Yeah, that was a time, man. That was a fucking time. Anyway, but yeah, so like we were signed to Virgin Records in about 2014, 2015. Big record deal. But then Ron Fair, who signed us, got fired, and the deal went kind of like crazy, and then they rolled into Capitol, and like it's the same music business bullshit that happens to a lot of bands. And then we flipped over to Sumerian Records, and we were kind of on them for a little while and doing our thing and putting out comic books. We sold about 100,000 books now, and like just doing our thing. And then of course COVID hit, and we're a touring rock band and we can't tour. Like, it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, and so all of a sudden our money supply just got cut because we were on tour for like 8 months out of the year every year. Like, we were just grinding the road dogs, and and making money, and like making the project work. But then COVID shut everything down. And I was in a writing session in 2014 with this guy named Kane Churko, who's if you know anything about music, Kevin Churko's son, who's really dope. He writes a lot of stuff with me. Well, he used to. And so we were in a writing session. We couldn't make a song work. And he was like, well, let's just take a break. I got to buy a Bitcoin. And I was like, what the fuck is a Bitcoin? Like, I didn't know what the hell this stuff was. I was like, this is some made up currency that you're just trying to get me in. And he was like, no, check it out. So he like gave me like all this information, and I went back to the hotel after the writing session, and I looked up Bitcoin, and I was like, actually, this is pretty cool. So I ended up buying like one Bitcoin at like $700, like in 2014. I put it in a wallet, and then I like, just left it there in Coinbase forever. And then the pandemic hit. And I was like, I wonder how much that Bitcoin is worth. And I go into the wallet, and it's like 30 grand. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, the price action was insane. I was like, this is insanity. So anyway, so that kind of got me into Clubhouse and into the NFTs, into the Bitcoin space. And then I learned about Bitcoin and stuff like that. And then NFTs started bubbling, and NFTs are non-fungible tokens that like you can basically put art on different chains and things like that, and you can collect them. They're like collectibles, like on chain. And so for me, I was like, this is perfect for me because I have like comics, I have music, I have like all this shit I can put on chain. And I was like one of the first in the rooms to like when these NFT things were bubbling. So I was like, I want to do it. And my friends who are Bitcoin maxis, they're like, you got to be the first one on chain to do it. You got to like, stamp it like that. So I was the first female rock metal musician to mint and sell an NFT. And since then I've had like 3,000 plus collectors over 11 platforms. I've spoken at Harvard. I've spoken at ETH Denver, like Art Basel. I've like, I did a Netflix show called NFT What the Fuck, like with Snoop Dogg and Pussy Riot, and like, just so because people didn't really understand what the fuck I was doing over there. They were like, "What are you doing?" And like, I'm talking to my agent, and he's like, "This NFT, what is an NFT?" Like, nobody understood what I was doing in the music business. They just thought I was crazy, and I was like, "That's okay," because when I first started September Mourning, everybody thought I was crazy too, because they were like, "Do you want to be a comic book character? Do you want to be a band? Do you want to be a rock? Like, why are you wearing all this crazy makeup?" Like, and so I just kind of just did my shit, because like that's what I usually do, and it really worked out for me. Like, it became a huge market in 2021 through like most recently it's kind of nosedived a bit, but there's still like a lot of communities that are very like rabid in that arena, and ours is one of them. Like, all of my collectors from the jump, they collected like an NFT, they got a free backstage pass, basically a free meet and greet on my tour, which was really cool because it linked real life events to something digital. And I think that's kind of like when you're looking at collectibles, you want that real world opportunity with something that's digital, because, digital is digital, like, but if you can use it, across board, then you actually got something that's really kind of cool. So when the pandemic, like, everything started to open up and we started touring again, like, all my collectors, these like 11,000 people, are coming to our shows. Like, they're doing the backstage pass. Like, it became a thing. They're getting 15% off merch, and like, it was really cool. Like, we really linked the world. So for me, I started collecting NFTs in 2021. I'm part of a lot of different projects on chain, Bored Ape Yacht Club, like a bunch of just different projects on chain, and they became like a really close family of mine, close knit, community. And I think that when we're talking about collectibles, like, we're not just talking about items that you collect. We're talking about being part of a community, like, and like, I think that, and being with like-minded people that find value in something that you want to hold dear. And I think that when you find that, it's really special. And I think we noticed that, especially over the pandemic, is people were like yearning for connection, like yearning for that. So when you have a collectible market, like, it's a connective tissue that like holds everybody together. So I think that's the beauty of it. And yeah, that's kind of like my story with collectibles.
That's great. I think it's why we're all here. It's something that, it's what we're a part of, the community that comes along with the digital collectibles. And it's something that, however cliche it is, the collect what you love. Basically, it's just something that, you pick the community and the artwork that you're a part of. And I just love seeing all the different artists that are out there putting their projects together and putting them forward. And it's great, to be a part of that.
Interesting with collectibles, and like, and the people in this chat I think you totally agree with me, is that you want to find something when it's niche. You want to find it when it's small, because then you feel like, I found this thing, and then everybody apes in on it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But you want to be one of the first. It's kind of like finding a musician that wasn't really big, and then like 3 years later, they're playing Madison Square Garden. It's the same shit. And like, discoverability, and like, and then building a community off of something that started, and you're like, I was one of the first ones, motherfucker. I was there. Like, I'm the OG that shit. And that's what I found with NFTs. That was kind of like my OG moment. And so, like, moving forward, even in the digital realm, and I'm building something right now for music in like with blockchain technology and AI technology. And it's cool because like, I was part of those communities from the jump, So I think that we can all agree that that's like a really cool part of being in the collectible sphere, is like finding these niche markets and like watching them blow up and grow.
Yep, absolutely. Very true. I love seeing the evolution of, the advancement of all this. And, and you see sometimes as things get so advanced, though, you want to touch back to that nostalgia. You want to go back to when you were a kid, You're just sometimes like, I just want a 1980s baseball card, something that, brings me back to my childhood. Like Thomas, I know you're a big cardboard collector. You want to tell us a little bit about, the different conversation, the podcast that you have, and some of your love of collecting.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I don't know how to follow up, that amazing, everything that Emily had just said, but I'll try. But yeah, I host a podcast /show, whatever you kind of want to call it. It's called A Different Conversation. we cover sports, we cover video games. We cover a whole bunch of different stuff. Whatever kind of comes to mind, we just kind of hop on and we kind of just talk about it. I love talking. My friends love talking. We've been doing it for 3 years. We just LLC'd the podcast. We just got a studio space, so we're kind of, finally elevating to where we want to go. So when it comes to, the collecting space, I love collecting, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have the worst luck when it comes to collecting. But I love collecting. So, like, for example, baseball cards, I've been collecting since I was small. I don't have a big pull in my life. The first time I had a very big pull, it was Wander Franco. I'm not going to go deep into who Wander Franco is, but I pulled the Wander Franco 1/1 rookie card. Unfortunately, things happen with Wander Franco. You guys can look up the story of what happened there. But that's my only real, big pull. I've spent a lot of money. I'll still spend a lot of money because, like I said, I love collecting.
Sure.
I have 35 sports jerseys. I have about 100 pops. I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards back in the day. Another bad story is I had, first editions Dark Magician, three-headed Blue Eyes White Dragon. I sold it all for $100 because I was hungry that day. I really wanted to get pizza for me and my friends, so I sold this stack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We went and got pizza, and then I realized, when I talked to friends like maybe a week later that I was an idiot. But other than that, I collect for fun. I try to get into collecting, a little bit, for sport. But then, I kind of get pushed back a little bit because how it can be, when you're collecting, you get a little bit too deep into it. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my story. Just grinding out the podcast. Collect for fun, and yeah, I got the Toronto Vince Carter jersey on.
Nice.
Yeah, ready to talk some collecting.
Awesome. I love it. And thanks, Thomas. We're going to come back, chat some more collectibles. Enrico, thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for coming on the What Do You Collect podcast. So if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your love for collecting and what exactly is it that you collect?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you for having me. So I've been working in social for the last 10 years. I'm currently director of social for Mel Robbins podcast. And I've worked with like Gary Vaynerchuk's personal trainer. I filmed and edited for 5-7 years. I worked with companies like Rise Supplements. And so I've worked as a consultant and strategist in social for the last 3 years. But going back to kind of like my filming days, there was one person that I filmed for. His name is Zach Rushlow, The Flexible Dieting Lifestyle. And this was around 2017, 2018. And he makes a lot of like macro-friendly recipes. So recipes that are, lower in calories, that are higher in protein. He puts his own spin on things. And a lot of the recipes that he would cook with, specifically the more sweet recipes, were made with Oreos. And he started like using a lot of Oreos within his content, like whether it was, regular Oreos, like these double stuffed ones or like these Fruity Pebbles ones. And it was just so interesting to me because I really gravitated towards that. And so it was just from there that I just started collecting Oreos, and I collect all limited edition Oreos. So much so to the point that I have three freezers full. And I always buy 4 packages. The reason for that is because I want to have one that in case I want to try it, and the other 3 that they get stored away and I will sell them. I have everything from a 3-pack of Supreme Oreos that I bought for $20. I have very limited edition Oreo, Pokemon Oreos that sometimes go up for $200 a pack. And even one that has like a Mew Oreo that was even going for as much as $20,000 on eBay. And then I have like Game of Thrones Oreos. I have Lady Gaga Oreos. I have like the latest ones with like the blueberry pie. And so like my love for Oreos stems from my time working with Zach and just the nostalgia that I have to where it's like, I love seeing like the new packaging, and I love being able to be like, oh no, I have the old packaging from like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And my goal with this is to be able to, I know this is going to sound crazy. I want to literally have like a shrine in my home where like in the basement or something, it's like a freezer. And I know the electricity bill is going to be a motherfucker. But this is something to where it's like, I'm really interested to see kind of like where this goes. Because it's kind of morphed into now, collecting limited edition Hershey's and like the Harry Potter Hershey's, the Pokemon Hershey, the Hershey bars and like all these other limited edition things. I know Butterfinger just came out with like the Butterfinger marshmallows, and so you know, Stranger Things now has a whole line with Doritos and with Chips Ahoy, which obviously I grabbed. But it's all these things that I look at to where it's like, you know, these big brands like a Doritos, like a Stranger Things, that like, you know, when Stranger Things is done, like that'll be something in 20, 30 years from now. It's like, oh my gosh, like, did you watch that show? Like it was such a big thing. And I have like the collectibles from it. And so, yeah, but you know, my whole thing with collecting, it actually really, oddly enough, it started years ago, like when I was in middle school, and I would go to my local card shop and they would do like card draws every so often. And it would be like trivia, and like you get to collect cards. And I thought it was so cool getting a jersey card or like an auto. And so, you know, amongst my Oreo collection, I also do have a lot of sports cards. But yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. It is got to be one of the most unique collections that I've heard so far. I mean, I love it. It's just you know, I know that obviously the value of some of the Oreos that are out there. I've heard those crazy stories over the years, just hearing how much they go for on eBay. And you know, the thing is, where do you find them? How do you get those hard collectible ones? Because I mean, honestly, every grocery store or, you know, standard location doesn't have all those hard to find ones. So how do you come across that and get those items?
You know what's interesting, man, is this is gonna sound crazy. I'm actually subscribed to the Oreo newsletter, so that way I know when drops happen. But it's funny because they came out with like these cherry blossom ones, and you had to be one of the first ones to buy it because they only sold 1,000 units. And it was cool because I bought it and it came in like this really unique packaging, and it was like a little small box that only had like 16 Oreos in them. But it's just little things like that of just staying on top of like, you know, where's Coca-Cola at when they did with the Oreo collab. And, you know, I follow a lot of these kind of like junk food pages because they're always the ones spotting different things. But honestly, man, like the thing for me is just going to the store, whether it's like literally just going to Stop and Shop. And,
right.
and that's the thing for me, man. Like every time I go out to the grocery store, like it'll be my girlfriend and I, we go grocery shopping. I'm like, I gotta go like check Oreos. It's like a dopamine hit. I'm like, I just gotta go see if there's anything new. But otherwise it's really just staying in the know of like on social of what's happening, or are these drops kind of getting leaked. And it's cool, man, because like and I'm really, really grateful for this, and I'll pass it. You know, whenever I like share this on my Instagram story, it's always the thing that gets the most engagement because it's just different. And what's really cool is I had this guy who follows me from Colombia. And he's like, I would love to just send you, or no, sorry, Venezuela. I would love to just send you like Oreos from here. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that's amazing. And so he flew to Miami because he had a trip. And from Miami, he then packaged them up and mailed them to me. And I have them. And it's just cool that I'm like, wow, me sharing content about like social and just helping people with that. But then also sharing my personal life on like this Oreo thing has really like gravitated people. Or has really like brought people together to like want to send me stuff, which I think is the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, that's great. For sure. It's just so neat to see these unique collectibles and to be, you know, in part of those communities just must be awesome because I'm sure you post something out on social and you're getting all likes and fans coming out asking you where you're getting those items and, you know, just appreciating those unique collectibles you have. You know, of the brands, the Oreos, and you know, with me, if it's something with food, I mean, look, I would have loved to be a collector of cannolis, you know, since I was a kid, or some pastries, but you know, if I would have kept those in my freezer for too long, I don't know, I wouldn't have survived. They wouldn't have made it at 2:00 in the morning. I would have been over there sneaking out a frozen cannoli or something. But that is just great. I love your collection and your passion for it. It's just awesome. I appreciate it. Colin, you want to talk to us a little bit about SlabScan and your passion for collecting and some of the loves that you have with the hobby?
Yeah. I started off collecting as a kid in the 90s junk wax era. And I kind of got back into it during COVID. And not out of choice, but I was just in a position where I was, you know, strapped for cash, and I could, you know, I was looking for anything in my house that I could kind of see what its value was on eBay. And I came across a box of cards and had quite a bit of money in there from when I was a kid that I didn't realize, because I used to go to the card shops all the time with my brother, and we would collect cans under the bridge and meet with homeless people to get cans, and then we'd go and we'd buy cards, and it was just kind of tradition, and I just collected all of that. And when COVID came, I kind of bounced back into it and kind of refreshed. Everything came popping back into my head, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I wonder what's up with the industry now." And so I ended up like kind of diving in head first. My grandfather passed away, and he gave me some money, and he said, "Don't pay bills with it, have some fun." And so I got into breaking cards online, accidentally, kind of like, "What is this?" And this is fun. My son was getting into the Little League, and I was trying to teach him about teams and players, and like I'm like, "This will be fun. We can do this together." Buying Red Sox spots, and we had a Pedro Martinez autograph, and I was like, "This is kind of gambly fun." I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this at the time. And so I spent the money really quickly, and my wife came into the office, and she was looking at all the cards everywhere, and she's like, "What did you do? Like, how much did you spend?" And I told her, and she kind of like had this moment where like you go past kind of frustration, and I realized, I was like, "I'll just sell them. I'll just start." So I posted like 100 cards online, and I ended up selling like close to $15,000 that first week. And after that, I realized that I had like acquired quite a bit of valuable things, because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what players were good. I didn't know that Brock Purdy was something at the time. I didn't know any of those things. And then you have a Paulo Banchero gold card that sells for $10,000, and you're like, and that kind of like brought me in to the national, and I started walking around and seeing like the whole culture again. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Where's my place in it? And the stories behind the cards and why people actually collect them, much like you do in this podcast, it was always like what guided me. I was like, we need to create a place, kind of like bringing NFT and real things together, where we can capture the stories, bring them to the objects themselves, and then when they go along their journeys, we can follow along. That we can be part of that card's journey, the Oreo's journey, wherever the journey is for the collectible itself. So that's what got me moving and kind of motivated. And so I started SlabScan, and I was like, let's just see where this goes. And we started building, and we're at the point now where we're going to be releasing kind of like our first product, which is like a safe agreement where you can actually become owner in the company. And we're going to send out like breaker boxes, kind of how I was reintroduced to the hobby. And it's not going to be like some crazy checklist where you're trying to get the big hit. There are going to be big hits in it, but the whole point is to be part of the new company and the new vision of the hobby. We want to build live checklists that, where you can see live what card's been hit, who hit it. You can see, instead of just looking at a stale checklist, you can see, oh, look how much of this checklist has been hit. We can start to build out kind of like, more, use the tech that we have to kind of build out what collectors care about in kind of a different way. So that's ultimately what we've been working on at SlabScan. But what I personally like to collect is I like collecting real things that are attached to real moments. So like I collect ticket stubs from moments and games that meant something. The Yankee Brawl game back in the, when I was younger. Things like that kind of like, they're kind of scarce in their own way, and
Right.
And are connected to a real moment. But so that's where I stand.
That's just a great story. I'm a big fan of holding on to something from an event or from a game that you went to. When you look at it, you recall, that great day or that great game that you were at. It's just so awesome to collect those type of things. Ticket stubs, programs, really brings you back to that day.
That's one of the frustrating things about modern events, is you don't actually get a physical ticket anymore.
Right.
So it's like, that was always my thing. I was like, I don't get a ticket. So I'm like, now do I buy a t-shirt, or like.
Moving into talking with Jalynda here, just some about your collectibles, some of the big items that you've been gathering over the years, and you going out of your way to track down. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So thank you for having me on, and your guys' stories were absolutely amazing. They
Oh,
were incredible. So, I really enjoy going to Yankee games, and every single Yankee game that we go to, we bring a cup home, whether it's a baseball cap cup where it's the ice cream, beer cup, margarita shakers, you name it, we're taking it. Like if you could reuse it and it's plastic, we're definitely taking it. And I just feel like being from New York, you just
Yeah.
have to. Like
Of
you just have to.
Do you ever go to the game just because it's a promotional day? Is there anything you're like, I gotta go because
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
all
We
right?
got those nice bucket hats. We got the hockey jerseys. Just a
Oh,
little bit of everything.
nice.
Yeah. No, we definitely got to get there early too.
Yeah. And how'd you get started on all this? Was this just something on your own that you developed, or did you collect some of this stuff at younger? Or
So my family actually got me started. I'm from a big baseball family. Everyone loves baseball, so we love sports. I've played sports my entire life. I grew up playing softball. I played in college. So my family had a huge impact on me and like why I like to collect and why I just like to, have everything. And it's memories too, and it also reminds me of my family.
oh, that's nice.
So yeah,
That's all.
never forget where you come from. So New York is
Yeah.
it's just very special to me.
I love it. And then taking a look up behind you, I think you got a couple cases of things back there. You want to
Yes,
let us
yes.
know about something else maybe you collect?
All right, so I also collect sneakers. I started when I was like maybe like a freshman in high school. Um, as soon as I started working and making my own coin, I wasn't making a lot, but every single paycheck, it was absolutely blown on a pair of sneakers. The whole
Oh, nice.
thing gone.
And what
But
yeah.
basically a lot of Jordans, all retros, Adidas, the New Balance, hopping on all the trends, whatever I see I like.
Mhm.
Yeah, so basically that's it.
And
But
then
yeah, I love sneakers.
what got you into, like, how do you collect them exactly? Do you wear them, or do you just put them right in the case behind you, or how does it
S- So
how
there's
does
a
that
few
whole process?
pairs.
Yeah.
So a few pairs I absolutely don't wear. I will not touch them. They sit in the box. I know exactly where they are, but won't touch them. I'll look at them once in a while, won't touch them. But
Oh,
some of them I do. I do wear a lot of them. And I also like fashion. So I
okay.
feel like streetwear fashion for me very much works. So I do like to wear my sneakers as well.
Oh, all right. And how about if you go out and you're wearing a pair of shoes? I mean, how do you keep them safe? How do you? I mean, what's any stories happen where you said, "Oh, that's it. These sneakers are going in the garbage after this." Any
Honestly.
tragedies, or you just what? How do you transport yourself without getting them messed up?
Old school New York. You put the plastic bag over your sneaker, you tie it, and you keep it moving.
Nice, nice.
That's
All right,
exactly how I would do it. That's what I was raised on, so
that's
you
it.
got
All
to keep
right.
it going.
It starts raining out, and I'm in Times Square. I see you shuffling along with bags on. I know you got some collectibles.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. That's some great collectibles. Any specific ones that you said this one is my Grail sneaker that I have yet to obtain, but I want to one day?
Um, Red Octobers.
Okay.
Yeezy Red Octobers. Those have been since I was little. I was just like in awe of them the first time I saw them. And I've seen them in person at Flight Club. I've admired them, but
Wow.
have yet to get my hands on them. And if I do, I'll be very happy.
Nice. Awesome. All right. You never know. It might be some flea market or something where you see them Red Octobers put out there. We'll help you out here. We come across any, we'll send it your way, tag you in a post or something.
Thank you.
We were talking before about like the ticket stubs and with the NFTs and all that. There's some obviously projects and works out there that have been happening over the years, and something that I enjoy collecting, as well as the digital aspect, is NBA Top Shot, NFL All Day moments. This is like a physical version that I have of the digital NFT. It's a basketball. This is Karl Anthony Towns. This is legendary, limited to 50. This is basically a collectible, digital collectible that they come out with for all different players and highlights of the NBA season. They have as well NFL All Day for football fans, where it just is a snapshot, basically a video of a specific moment throughout the NBA season. And then it's there's different min sizes as far as, you know, once they make these, say, 50, like this is all that will exist of this licensed, you know, by the NBA, officially licensed product. And basically there's ties to where you can go to, say you went to a game, there's some specials that they did where if you were at the game, you can get that moment exactly from the game that you were at. You know, so in a sense, it's kind of like the future of going to a game and going to an event and then holding on to a memento and holding on to something that you can remember. You could put it in one of these displays. You know, you can basically just hold on to that, you know, maybe at 50-point night, you know, that you went to and you witnessed, and now you can have that and keep that in your collection. So it's something that, you know, with the blockchain and just kind of with the partnerships that are out there, you know, might become part of something for the future. So Emily, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of those different NFT projects. I know that you've been a part of a bunch. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're involved with?
Well, I mean, there's like two sections that I kind of like play around in NFTs. Like one side is like you know, the collectible side, and then the other side is like music NFTs. And like music NFTs, I mean, I make them and I create them and I sell them. So like that's a whole sort of situation, and I think that bands can really, you know, do a lot of like great stuff if they are part of that community. Like, I mean, it's direct payment to the band or to the artist. You don't have to go through labels, you don't have to go through like agencies, you don't have to go through TuneCore. Like, it's just like you know, somebody buys your NFT, you make the money. Like, that's it. Like, it doesn't, you know, that's like a huge thing in the music business because transparency is so fucked. So like so that side, I'm just bullish on like everything in that side of music NFTs, and that's why I'm building the platform I'm building, that is hopefully going to come out in the first quarter of next year. So hopefully you guys can kind of like check it out when we get it up and running. But it's going to be really interesting for a lot of artists and musicians and moving forward. But the other side is kind of like, I was just at Ape Fest. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's Bored Ape Yacht Club. They like throw an Ape Fest like every year. So I was there this year. They are, you know, building consistently over there at Bored Ape at Yuga Labs. I mean, they've kind of like parlayed just, you know, selling these apes. And I remember being in those rooms on Clubhouse when they were first selling these apes and people making like monkey noises and shit. It was a whole thing. It was so stupid. Like, I was like, what is going on? Like, and then like going from there to like a multi-million-dollar company that is like selling land in like a metaverse, like with Snoop Dogg, is just like fucking crazy. It's like, you know, it's just insane the trajectory of this club. And they're opening like a IRL spot in Miami next year, and like, I mean, it's just it's kind of crazy. I'm good friends with a lot of people in the community. I had a great time there. I'm setting up to build something with Yuga for next year and kind of like parlay RIP into like what they're kind of doing. And so, you know, I'm just bullish on everything digital and collectible and NFT wise. I think NFT, like the terminology of an NFT, like it's a really bad rap. Like people like hear it and they're like, oh my God, it's a scam. And it's like, but if you look at the underlying tech of it, like that's not a scam. Like that shit is real. It's blockchain tech. It's like an open ledger. Everything's transparent. Like for somebody who comes from the music business where you get signed to a label and then they say you owe like, you know, all this money back, and you're like, where did it go? And like there's no transparency. It's like going into a community and like building something in a space that is totally transparent is like next level. It's like it's just like the clouds open up and like heaven just shine down. It's like, oh my God, like I actually know what's going on here. This is insane. Like, you know, so the underlying tech provides that. So like when you do hear NFT, like try not to like have your biases come into your brain and be like, that's a scam. Like try to like remove yourself from that and actually see what the project is doing, because like there's a lot of like really cool communities and really cool projects that are building like lots of cool shit. Like I know that Yuga just launched for their other side, Otherworld or whatever, the Boximus on Amazon, and it's sold out, and it's like all these avatars, and you can go into the metaverse, and like metaverse is still early. We're still early on this shit, but I'm bullish on metaverse. Like I'm bullish on like these like things, because video games, you know, I mean, come on, it's like it's the biggest industry on the planet right now. Like it's like, so this is definitely going to come into fruition, and like people are really going to adopt it. It's just like kind of like when. So like I'm just bullish on building things that make sense in those worlds and actually bring value. So like so that's why I like Yuga, and I'm really bullish on Yuga is because of that. You know, there's some other really cool projects that kind of like are in and out. Like there's the Oniforce. So Oniforce started as an anime sort of project in NFTs, and it was like the first anime based project in NFTs, and it was all these 7,777 collectibles, and they all sold out. And they're all these anime characters, and then they had a storyboard and a storyline, and it was really cool. Like it was a little bit too intricate. Like as a comic book writer, it's like you got to keep it fucking simple, but like they kind of like went into the weeds. It was like really crazy, but like but for people that are collectible people, like people like us that like to collect like Oreos or like random shit, like we're gonna do the deep dive. Like we're gonna be like, oh yeah, I want to know like what fucking bullet that guy used in the gun to kill that like monster, like, you know, like we're gonna do that. So like for us, it was cool, right? So like Oniforce, you know, it ended up getting sold to this guy Henry a couple of years ago, and he just like ramped that shit up. And so he's doing like live anime. He put out the comic books. Like he really made everything happen. And he approached me and he was like, "Do you want to do the theme song?" So we wrote a theme song for Oniforce. It's called Rise, and it did really well. It charted. It did really well. It's still doing well. They're going to start using it in the live action anime or the action anime, like as they do it. But they're, you know, it's really cool that like people in the community collaborating with other people in the community, right? Like, so we're all kind of uplifting each other. Like even with like Ape Chain and the apes and Yuga, like they're uplifting me as well. They're like, look, you like work your ass off. You're doing this. You're in a niche market, but you have like devout fans. Like, you know, like this is the type of thing that we want to see move the markets, you know? And I think that like we all know, like being a collector is like we all said before, like finding those niche things and then blowing them up, you know? And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with collectibles in NFT.
It's great. I love all the information because, you know, I've been involved myself since 2021, you know, collecting different NFTs out there. I just appreciate all those different communities and being a part of just what their passions are and the project itself. The artwork, you know, has been amazing on a lot of these projects. You know, it's kind of like it's a new business, you know, it's like the Wild West. You got a lot of things that just are opening up, and you know, not all of them are going to be profitable and all of them are going to make it, you know. So I think it's as the years go on, you know, we'll see which ones kind of rise to the top.
It's so strange to me because if you live in New York City, you're from New York or New Jersey, right? Like, so
yeah, how do you know? Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what do you think? Yeah. So, but like, I mean, I'm from New York, so like, yeah. When I grew up in New York, oh, you are too, Thomas. You're from the area, but okay, so you guys understand this. You're gonna totally get this analogy. So like, you're in New York City, you understand that like in New York City there are so many restaurants, right? That like that open up in New York City, and they cycle through because they don't. Some of them don't make it. A lot of them don't make it. Like 90% of these restaurants do not make it, guys. But nobody's calling them rugs. They're just saying, like it's a failed business, like, you know. And that's the thing that like that's why I kind of like look at people that go like, oh, it just rugged it. Like it's, you know what? Maybe there's some malicious shit that went down. Maybe there's not. Maybe the people just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Just like in a restaurant where they just don't know how to order the right produce. You know, it's not they're rugging the restaurant. It's like, so I think that we need to kind of like, we have these weird like confirmation biases that happen in our brains, and like, and we need to like let go of that shit. I wrote a tweet about this today. I was like deep down into the fucking psychology of this shit, but it's like, Yeah, I was doing the deep dive, guys. It was scary, but it was like we have to, the stories we tell ourselves, like our brain lies to us, and we really have to kind of like think about what it's saying and be like, okay, maybe that's not what the real reality is. Like maybe we need to form our reality based off of other things. So anyway,
it's great. I love all the information. Thomas, you want to tell us a little bit about just some of the things that you got going on at the podcast, what we could tune into, some of the stuff that you got going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, Emily was exactly right about the NFT things. Like, I've never gone into the NFT business, not because like I think it's a scam, but it's just kind of like what Jalynda said is like, I want like physical, like actual things, and like I never put value into NFTs. But then you put me on to NBA Top Shot the other day, and then like I put like $20. I pulled all commons. It was bad. Like I put like $20-$30 into it. It was bad. But I want to keep going. I want to like keep doing it because it's awesome. Like I love the idea of it. But yeah, no, my apologies. But
Well, it's great. I'd love to hear, obviously the collectibles. I know if you're interested in it, it's something that I think you'll enjoy because I collected a lot of physical stuff, but the digital aspect, it's so cool because if you pull a pack and you open up and you get a bunch of plays you don't like, you can put them right on the marketplace or accept an offer and, you get rid of them. Because it's like, even though if they're digital, you still feel the weight of it as if it was physical, because sometimes, you just want to figure out, like, I can't hold on to all these things. I want to get rid of them, convert them, or burn them in a challenge. Or sometimes you just got something that you're like, hey, I know another collector would really like this. As far as like serial numbers being important, some collectors are after that number one or that last mint. You'd rather sell it and make sure that, someone else gets it who really appreciates it. So it's easy to do with the digital stuff because it's instantly virtually, you're doing it right there from your phone or your laptop. It's just some of the things that come along with collecting digital.
like a lot of like Bored Apes,
Right.
right? Like there's one with pink hair that like I like because like I'm down with the pink hair and like the cute little bow tie and the like, and it becomes your personality. And like we use these avatars online. We use them in our like, like I don't know, like if you're on Twitter, like sometimes you don't want to put your real like picture up there, you put an avatar up there. Like, I mean, when you're doing a video game, you have an avatar anyway. So it's like it's the same shit, And so I think that, and also the community, right, Thomas? Like you buy into the community, like NBA Top Shots. Like you're not just buying these, like it's like you're buying into NBA Top Shot. Like it's like this community that's formed around this trading card sort of digital world. And then you meet other people in it. And then you are like, oh, I want to be part of it. I just want to keep this and collect this because I want to be part of this thing with all these people. It's connection, and connection is huge. And it's more massive than we even know because of COVID, I think. But anyway.
And I think I might have to just look into doing NFTs because like my biggest issue with collecting is I have so many baseball cards just for the simple fact that like, one, I don't know what to do with them, but two, I also don't want to get rid of them. Like right now, like the way my desk is set up right now, like under my desk, I have, I think 4 or 5 like huge boxes of just baseball cards. And like I get nagged by my fiance like every other week, like, oh, what are you gonna do with those? What are you gonna do with those? And I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. But with NFTs, like you said, Paulie, I can just just get rid of it, right then and there if it's not something that I want. So hey, it might be something that I eventually look into. But yeah, with the podcast, our biggest thing is like I said, it's called A Different Conversation. So our biggest thing is we strive to be different. We don't want to be like something where like you tune in, you've seen it before, it's that typical stuff that you see. We want to bring good media back because I know the biggest thing in the big 2025, the big year that we're in now, is that a lot of people kind of like criticize all the media that we see, everything that we get construed to in our day-to-day lives. So the biggest goal with our show, I like to call it a show more than a podcast because I feel like a lot of people are doing podcasts these days. But the thing that we like to do with our show is we just want to bring good media back. We want to laugh, we want to sit back, we want to not take the world so seriously. So sometimes we'll take like a shot or two, like we're right when we're beginning, just to see where the conversation goes. Sometimes we don't even have a script. Sometimes we have a script, we just throw the script away. It really is what it is. But the main thing is we really just want to be different, and that's kind of the whole thing. It's been a journey. I mean, my first podcast, If you guys ever want to go watch it, I'm sitting there for 45 minutes. I think it was 2022, 2023, and I'm awkwardly talking about how COVID affected our lives, and it was awful. It was god awful. But we all got to start somewhere. So now it's kind of spiraled into this whole thing. Like I said, we just applied for the LLC. It's almost done getting finalized. We're actually getting a studio space, which is so awesome. We got all of the equipment and everything ready. So we're actually really, we're going to put a lot of money into it finally. And yeah, we cover sports, mainly football and basketball, because the baseball world, as you guys probably know, baseball isn't the most popular thing in comparison to basketball and football these days. For some reason there's a NASCAR community where every time I post something about NASCAR, that just explodes for some reason. I don't know. I have very limited knowledge on NASCAR, but then other than that, we have like non-sports stuff. We have video games. We try to strive to have something for everybody. Like we had like couples episodes, we try and experiment on basically just anything that we can, just to get a different conversation going.
Well, it's great, man. I enjoy your content. A different conversation podcast. Definitely check it out. It's just so much fun to talk all those different aspects and putting those different things together. The coverage that you have on there is awesome. Love to hear some of the sports stories and the different guests that you have on. It's something I think that, while you're collecting and talking about sports, great to have you here and be a part of the What Do You Collect community. Enrico, just want to move over and talk to you a little bit about some of these digital collectibles. Is that something that you've experienced or have took a look at?
I mean, I only know through NFTs just from even hearing like Gary talk about it so much. And so no, but like in terms of like my experience with NFTs, no, I'm actually really new to it, but I'm always open to like even just exploring it a lot.
Sure. And I had Gary on a previous podcast with Tony Reale of ESPN, the Around the Horn show. It was great. I love hearing, Gary's passion for the V-Friends, which I've been a collector of with the NFTs and the physical aspect. You want to tell us a little bit about your work and kind of, what you've experienced along there with Gary and how you kind of observe some of their building of V-Friends and kind of seeing how they've reached out to the collectible world.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting with Gary. I didn't actually like see how they started building V-Friends, but in like the short period of time that I was able to like be close with him in proximity, just even working with his trainer, it's just he's a very contagious person in terms of like his energy for things, and it really does feed off. And so it's like it's funny because like when Gary's like really high on NFTs, you're almost like, okay, yeah, okay, great. Like, what do I need to know? Like, yep, I'm in it. And so it's just like I feel like he just has that energy for anything because he's just so passionate about it. And so of course it's just like when I saw the V-Friends and like he he's doing the V-Friends with D-Rock, and they're in like Gary's apartment, and he's like sketching them all out and everything, and it's just like what is this guy doing? And it's just cool because it's like he runs a multi-million-dollar media company, and it's like, why are you sketching out cartoons? But at the same time though, it's just like, well, clearly there's something here that we should pay attention to, and that if you're very high on it, obviously like we should take note of, because I think Gary's trajectory in terms of like where things are going and like his prediction has been pretty spot on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I also been, followed him for years and know his passion for collecting. And I think it's just his passion shows obviously at some of the trade shows. He was at the Fanatics Fest. He was just there taking pictures, talking to people about their collectibles. Amazing to see like that product become a Topps product, and it's sold on Fanatics. Basically the Topps Chrome, the new edition, the stickers that have come out. I love how he kind of relates a lot of things to nostalgia and also includes that good message. But basically like they partner with Steph Curry. Steph Curry's linked up with his products. It's just, I love to see how the process evolves with him, because it starts out one way and then you just see over the time it just grows and he just continues to evolve, like with these V-Friends, for example, and as well with all his other endeavors and ventures. But it's just a great collectible, and his passion for it is just totally, blatantly obvious with this. So I love it. And any other collectible items and things that are in your future that you're eyeballing and kind of see like, well, maybe I should I'd love to get a hold of this, perhaps. So maybe in the next year or two.
I mean, I'm really interested to see, because I think so. There's this company a while. They kind of started this whole trend. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like who Ghost Lifestyle is or like Ghost Energy, but like they're big in the supplement space, and they really started this trend of like, let's take, and kind of what I talked about before with like Oreo and Coca-Cola. It's like, let's take two really big brands and let's like combine them together. And so what I'm really interested in seeing, well, because they started with like, doing a pre-workout with like Sour Patch, a pre-workout with like Swedish Fish. And so it's like, how do you take these already established brands that either are kind of not, I don't want to say losing relevance, but that are not top of mind for people, and like kind of repackage it, combine it with something else, and just like make a collab with it. And so that to me is really interesting to see, is like these brands that we just were like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, what happened to so and so, and like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought that they'd do a sneaker collab or a product together or anything. And so to me, that's really, really interesting to see, because yeah, I think as like, I mean, as we all know, with AI and with everything, like things are just moving so fast, and there's just so much information, there's just so much content being fed to us that like, we're not thinking about things as much as we were, and like we're getting so much information. And so yeah, I think it's just really cool to see like how these brands pivot essentially to always like stay relevant.
I can tell you're a big fan of brands, and as far as marketing, is that something that you've collected, some of the older food items or cans or collectibles like medical signs, or the old cookie canisters, or the Flintstone jars that used to be filled with jelly, but people still hold on to them and keep them as collectibles? Any other ones that you're into?
Yeah, so it's funny. My father and I, years ago, my father's like from Italy, and so I have like an immigrant family, and it's funny because like we would do the most random shit, and we would actually buy storage lockers that people like couldn't pay for anymore monthly, and like they'd go up for auction. And man, it's so interesting, like the stuff that you find in there, whether it's like an old Coca-Cola can from like 30 years ago that still has like a little bit of syrup in it, that's like still closed, but like all the water evaporated. And so it's like all of those little things, I'm like, where's all that at? Because as like things evolve, or even like hell, like Kit Kat, like they've completely changed their branding, and like the old branding that was a year ago, I'm like, that's going to be a collectible pretty soon. And I just don't think we think of these things because we're just like on autopilot all the time. But I'm like, things are advancing very quickly, and like things always change. They get a new look on it, just because it has to appeal to consumers. And I'm really like so interested in that stuff, because it's funny, like and you could tell my ADHD is just absolutely on fire. I was actually at the TWA hotel recently by JFK, because I celebrated my 30th birthday there. And man, it's so interesting, like the nostalgia that they have there, like how they're keeping things intact, like even the magazines in the rooms, like it's like packaging the like the sweet and low, like the sugar substitute, and like how they would market it then. It's so interesting, but I'm so like interested in how how things are going to look today, even 30, 40, 50 years from now. But that it's like, well, I have a piece of that still, and to me that's exciting.
Oh, I love it. I'm the same a lot of ways with those older places to visit, like the TWA hotel brings you back in time. I love going to some of these like Great Gatsby events, or some these old hotels. Checking out, there's an old train station over in Pittsburgh they converted into a restaurant. It's just great to be a part of something like that, that you really can step into, and it takes you back. I've wanted to see the Dr. Pepper Museum. I know there's a lot of cool old branded items in there to see, in Hershey Park, if you're ever near there, to see some of the old, how the original chocolate packaging was. It's just really neat to see some of these old collectible brands. Colin, you want to talk to us a little bit about what you would want to collect in the future here, and something that coming up bright for the next couple of years that you're excited about?
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. Nostalgia. I think nostalgia is like that link to kind of a time that you felt good. As a kid, there's when you collect old advertising, you put it up, it makes you it gives you like this feeling that you're back then, right? Like I have my ticket from 1992, my first baseball game with my dad, has my dad's name printed on it, like in those little matrix dot way with nostalgic just to me, because they don't, that's not how you print things anymore. So like I think that the future, like we were just talking about AI and how we don't know what's real. I think that's where NFT and stuff is going to play a huge role in how we authenticate and transparency for not just collectibles and what we collect, but what we consume in general. We're going to start to need to see like a blockchain behind it to know that it's real and that it wasn't manufactured by Sora 2 or 5 or 10 or 15. We're going to have to, and to me, like nostalgic stuff isn't going to be recreate. Like I think we'll start to see the difference between AI nostalgia and actual nostalgia. And so I think as humans, we're going to push back. And by pushing back, it's always with transparency and making things more clear. And so right now we're in the Wild West all over again. You see it. It's like we don't know what's real. It's all, the news, like podcast taking over. Everything's kind of like up in the air, and you can get content from wherever you wish to get it from. And which is fun because we get to build our own communities again. And and that's kind of what I want to see more of in the future in the collectible space, is to be able to bring people together in physical form and like trade and do things that you agree with, like nostalgically. When I walk through the National, and one of the things I love about it every year is that it's like you get to see old friends. You see, it's like this kind of very chaotic thing that also has nostalgia kind of stitched into it. And so it's like I want to see the future like kind of simmer down a little bit and figure out way we come together as communities in smaller spaces and kind of like actually kind of be like human again, I guess, using tech and AI and all the fun stuff that we've come to love. Like, because I love NFT. I love the fact that you have a real live thing. It's a real thing. It's an NFT, but it's a real thing. Like that's kind of, I think, where a lot of people went off the rails with NFTs was like, oh, it's, and even if it is just on in your wallet and you don't decide to display it in that case or wherever, like I think that people can start to see how we can make these things kind of what they actually are, which is real. Like that moment was a real moment in that game. You might have been there, and to me, that might be the new ticket, stub of the future.
We were doing these things called POAPs like during 2023. I think it was 2023. And a POAP is like a proof of attendance protocol. So like if you went to a show of mine, like you would get like a POAP in your wallet. If you had my NFT, it would just be airdropped into your wallet that you were at that show, like Cincinnati. And then you'd have like a Cincinnati like drawing of like the September monster, and it would say Cincinnati. And that was like basically like what you said, your ticket stub for being at that place at that time, and it was on chain. So like that stuff existed. It never really took off because people just didn't understand the technology yet. So I think that we're just early, and like and it's gonna happen. But yeah, Colin, I agree with you. I think that if you have these collectibles that relate to real world like memories that you yourself are collecting in your brain, like that's when you have a win.
Absolutely. I think, there's been a partnership with Dapper Labs and Ticketmaster. I think there's something that, for the future that's going to be coming up and going on by, going to an event or a game, and you're going to be able to have that collectible and have that ticket stub, digitally, something that you could hold on to and something that's limited. There was something with NBA Top Shot where they called it the tour, where you went to an event at the arena. You went to a game and you were able to get a specific pack because it like geolocated you being in that arena. You were only able to get it from being at that event specifically, which is pretty cool because it made the mint on those, pretty limited and scarce. So it's pretty nice to see. I think as these things start coming more and more into mainstream, to see exactly what the NFT world and the blockchain could bring us. Jalynda, just wanted to chat with you a little bit before we go and just talk about, what's next for you in collecting? What's something that you, maybe want to get into and you see for the future to add to your massive sneaker collection?
So, I would like to keep collecting baseball cards because I just truly do have a passion, especially old ones. I really enjoy the older ones. Um, they just have so much meaning, and I feel like they've just accomplished, like those specific players, certain players have accomplished so much, and there's so much history. And I like the sports history as well. I think it's very interesting for all sports. NFL, NBA history, crazy. I love it. But yeah, and then sneakers, trying to get some more. I'm going to be on all the new releases, but I also like to go to thrift shops, consignment shops, and I like to see what they have there that are verified.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's true. You definitely get to find some good collectible sneakers. Some of these shops. Have you been to any of the sneaker shows or sneaker con or any of those events that go on?
I've never been to sneaker. Yeah, so I've never been to SneakerCon, but it's always been on my bucket list. I have a bunch of friends who've been, I know people who set up stands, but I've never made it personally. I would love to go though.
There's definitely a bunch of events that go on each year. Some of the just those big collectible, sneakers you could find there, and some of the old cards. So what are some of your old favorites of your old players that you have that got you started into collecting those physical cards?
So it was Derek Jeter card. That was my first card. Obviously, he's a great, but that card just completely did something in my brain where I was like hooked. I was like, wait, like I want another one. I want another one. Like who's gonna be the next great? Like so just that constant like wow, like I have a Derek Jeter card. Like that was just huge to me. And I guess it's just more the internal feeling.
It's true. I know. Listen, you keep buying and buying, you end up with stacks of cards on your desk like Thomas over here, and then you're just sitting there going, "Where do I put these things?"
Yes, no, you guys really. I want to hop on the NFT wave as well. You guys really gave me great information.
Listen, I think we'll definitely get you set and on your way here. Show you a lot of the different NFT digital collectibles out there, and then you could see where you find your happy home, which ones you really enjoy, and which communities you want to be a part of. I just want to thank everybody from coming on and to making this possible to be on this What Do You Collect episode. It's been a great time, and I enjoy it. Keep watching and keep collecting.
What's hidden within? What do you collect? Oh, oh.